Hi, welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 141, and I'm Lisa, your host, also known as Fibernymph on Ravelry, Plurk, and Instagram. Today is Wednesday, November 19th, and this is my third start trying to get this episode recorded because the lighting is so bizarre today. Number one, I've got the sun coming in. I'm not complaining about the sunshine, but apparently 9:30 in the morning is when it wants to come directly in across my face. And I have my lamp on over here that I always have, and I'm trying to mitigate this sunlight thing. And then I started to record the second time and realized that I didn't have my ceiling light on, which honestly isn't doing a whole lot of good anyhow. So I apologize that the lighting is really bizarre today. Hopefully the sun will sort of travel as we record and maybe not be quite so in my face literally, and I can turn my lamp back that way because it's actually shining on me and making me really warm. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me welcome Missy from Alaska. She introduced herself on the 90% Knitting board in the welcome thread, so nice to meet you. Thank you for doing that. And let's get into things. First of all, last Saturday, was Indie Knit and Spin here in Pittsburgh, and it was a fantastic show. I love that show. It's my favorite show to do throughout the year. It was just the one day, and it was a 5-hour show, 11 to 4, and it ended up being my best one-day show I've ever done to date, which is exciting. I mean, that's not counting like SSK and Zombie Knit Apocalypse, those markets. I mean, those are so specialized to the audience that's there. They're always really, really, really good. But I mean, for just a regular, fiber event that I've vended at, this was my best one-day show. So that's always fun to have a milestone like that. We were busy the whole time. Well, the last hour wasn't that busy, but last hours are never busy, no matter how long a show is. The first 2 hours pretty much were slammed. I sat and I wrote up orders the whole time. I was really happy to have my friend Pegger helping me in my booth. She actually helps me wind a ton of the striping patterns that I dye. So if you've bought a striping yarn from me, chances are Pegger may have been the one who wound that yarn for you. So anyway, she was there and she helped me out, which was great. The second 2 hours were steady. They weren't as super busy as the first 2 hours were, but they were steady. And the last hour, again, was slow, but that's to be expected and not a big deal. It was fun. I got to meet a lot of you. So many people. It's like every show I do, I get more and more people coming in and saying, oh, I see you watch your podcast and really enjoy that. And a couple of you brought me goodies. I didn't bring them in. Well, the one I didn't keep because it wasn't something, it was a sample that someone had knit and he offered it to me for the booth. But I hate to do that. It's kind of my policy that I don't accept things like that just because I'm so afraid somebody will walk off with it or something will happen to it. And then another viewer came and she was just so kind and she had knitted me a dishcloth, and so thank you for my Christmas dishcloth. I'm not naming names just because I know I'll probably screw something up and I don't want to do that, but just know that I so appreciate that. That was such a lovely gesture, and I didn't use it yet. I was going to bring it in to show it and then I left it sitting out there, but anyway, it was fun. So I love getting to meet you guys whenever I have the shows. That's one of the fun things about doing shows, is getting to meet people who already seem to know me from the podcast, but then I get to know you in person when you come to my shows. So okay, I will talk a little bit more about Indie Knit and Spin later on because I do have stuff that I got while I was there, and I will show you that towards the end of the 90% section. So we will pick up on that. But for right now, let's get into the knitting, which there has been a lot of. I'm still making great progress on all of my holiday knitting, so I'm very excited about that. The Christmas Afghan, the mitered square Afghan that I'm making out of the Katia Azteca yarn. I'm done with 9 squares now. This was I had 7 done last week, so this is number 8. And this is number 9. And I'm on number 10. I'm not quite half done with number 10, but they go so quickly. So here's number 10. They go so fast, and I love knitting them. I'm not getting tired of them yet, and I have no doubt that I will have I won't have any problem getting this done. I mean, barring some major catastrophe. But yeah, I've still got my projects all lined up on the back of my couch. So this is one of them. I never talk about my bags. I realized that as I was watching podcasts lately. Most people say where they got their bags. This one's actually a Busy Mind Designs bag. She's not making bags anymore. Her shop is closed, but I've always loved her little bags. This was the whale bag. So, yeah, so the mitered square Afghan is coming right along. Once I get number 10 done, that will be the halfway point. I'll have half of my squares finished, which is exciting. I need to take another picture. I laid them out when I had 4 done, and I think I'm going to, once I get 10 done, I'll lay them out again so I can get a visual of what they're going to look like. You can't really put them all together until you have all 20 done to know, you know, how it's really going to turn out. But I think it's going to be a fairly sizable Afghan. I mean, it's looking bigger than what I originally thought it would be. And they're approximately 12-inch squares. Between 12 and 13 inches is how they're working out, which is a nice size. So last week I mentioned that I thought I was going to use some Lions brand worsted, black worsted that I had found in my, or not Lions brand, Lamb's Pride worsted that I had found in my stash to do the seaming. And Melissa, who is from Meltran Designs, my friend Melissa, pointed out to me that that is not a superwash yarn, and the rest of the yarn that I'm using for the Afghan is. So if it ever gets washed by its recipient, that could be a problem. And she's right. I didn't even think about that. So I'm really glad she pointed that out to me. I think what I'm leaning towards doing at this point is I'm going to just dye up some of my cozy base, which is a worsted weight base, and I'll dye that black and use that to seam, because my vision for seaming this at this point is I'm going to seam 4 strips of 5 squares, so they'll be the long ones. I'll seam those all together. I'm just going to crochet them together, and then I'll do, you know, I'll crochet the 4 seam parts together, so there'll be 3 long. I'm not planning to do an outside border. I've decided that. However, I may do some sort of little embellishment at the outside point where each square meets, almost kind of like a, I don't really know what it would be called. Not a scallop, because I don't want it to be scallopy, but like sort of like maybe a little flourish thing, like an Art Deco sort of, you know, those wedge thingies. I don't know. It's just something I'm playing with in my brain to make it look a little bit more finished, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So anyway, that is moving along really, really well. I'm very happy with that. Okay, the Nyan Cat socks. I have a hoe. The first one is all finished. I did the afterthought heel, and I love how it turned out. This is definitely the tallest socks I've ever knit. These are 8-inch cuffs. I've never done 8-inch cuffs. I usually stop at 6. But I wanted to use as much of the yarn as I could, and it's turned out great. I love it. I know the recipient will love it. So the first one is done, and the second one is underway. Not by a whole lot. I got the ribbing done, so the cuff is done. Just need to, or the ribbed part of the cuff is done. Need to work my way down. So there's that. Boy, I really apologize for the lighting today. This sunshine thing. You don't complain about sunshine in Pittsburgh at this time of year because it's not a given that you're going to get it. We have had, this is at least the second day in a row where we've had temperatures in the teens, okay? It's only mid-November. That's weird even for us. It's cold. So, and it felt like 0 yesterday. That's just wrong. So anyway, so the Nyan Cat socks are definitely coming along, and that's my bedazzled base. Vanilla sock, afterthought heel, on US 1.5s. The Afghan I'm doing on US 9s. I don't think I mentioned that. All of my project details are available on my project pages on Rav if you want the details. I feel like week after week I'm telling you the exact same thing about all these projects since they've been ongoing, so I don't want to bore you with them. But anyway, okay, let's see. So that was Nyan Cat. The next socks are actually the only project that have really not gotten very much love at all this week. That's because these are not specifically a Christmas gift. These are a gift, but not necessarily for Christmas. So these are the Sucker Punch, the ankle socks that I'm making out of Leading Men Fiber Arts Showstopper base in the Sucker Punch colorway. Just short little vanilla socks, traditional heel flap. I know last week I was done with the heel decreases. I've probably done maybe 3 or 4 rounds past that in the past week. So not much progress there, but that's okay because it does not have to be done for Christmas. It'll be fine. The other socks are the Happy Camper socks. These are Christmas gift socks. And they are really coming along. These will definitely be done by next week. Okay, so I think maybe the first one was finished last week when I showed you. So this was the first one, everything except the afterthought heel. That's my darning needle. So the afterthought heel is not in yet. I finished, excuse me, I finished the second sock this morning, and I did pick up the stitches for the afterthought heel. So I've begun the afterthought heel on this sock. My stripes don't line up exactly, but they are way close enough to be okay. You can tell at the toe, that's where you can tell the difference mostly. And actually up at the cuff, because the second one I had a little bit more of the green. I'm terrible at getting those things to line up. But this is my Happy Camper Sport Weight base that I'm unfortunately not carrying in the shop anymore. I absolutely love knitting with this base. It's fabulous. It is simply a logistics issue of working with it to do the striping patterns. It's a nightmare, a nightmare. And I can't really even explain it. I'd have to go too in depth. But it's just, it's not worth the frustration that we deal with to do it in the self-striping. So that's why I've moved to my Traveler base, which is another sport weight base. It's a lighter sport weight than this was. But yeah, and I don't think I have any of this left in the shop. I think it's all sold at this point. Maybe some semi-solids are left, but that's it. And I think I have a few bips and bops of leftover cone yarn from this that I can dye up for little things, but that's about it. At any rate, this was the Dark Matter Butterflies colorway, and this is a gift. And like I said, these should definitely be done by next week, and that will be exciting because I've been working on these pretty steadily, and I would like to see some finishedness. And I definitely have enough left of the yarn to do the afterthought heel in the colorway, and I'm starting with the purple and working down from there. And I should be able to do that with the second one as well because there's enough repeats left. So we're all good on that. And those I am doing on US 3s. So, and this is a Jessalou bag. I love this bag. It's got the pigs and the inside fabric is bacon with smiles. You can't beat that. So, okay. Oh, and the bag that I had my other Nyan Cat sock in is the one from Australia that my friend Bonnie brought me back from Australia this year. So, okay. The next gift is the Hitchhiker, and that too is coming along really, really well. I love knitting this thing. I am up to 27 points, I believe. I think I counted this morning. I'm pretty sure it was 27. So, yeah, it's getting there. I've got 41 grams of yarn left. I'm not to the point where I'm actually weighing the yarn after every segment because I know for the last segment is supposed to take approximately 6 grams of yarn. I'm mainly just weighing it to see how done I am. So I'm about 60% complete with this project, and the segments are obviously taking longer to get through at this point, but that's okay because it still moves pretty quickly. And this is something that I'm still sitting down occasionally during the day and just knitting out one. So it's 8 rows. I'm trying to take it a little easy this week because after the show I was really, really burned out and tired. So I'm still working this week definitely, but I'm taking it a little easy and trying to just squeeze in a little downtime and knitting time during my day. So this and the Afghan are the ones that I definitely sit down and I knit on when I have a few minutes. So anyway, this is my bounce base, and this was a test knit or a test dye colorway that I had done. I think I'd mentioned for the Zombie Knit Apocalypse goodie bag yarn last year. I ended up doing the actual goodie bag yarn differently. It didn't have the white, but since this was my test skein and I had it in my stash, I am using it for this particular gift. And I'm enjoying it. I'm still loving how the color is working up. And it may actually someday go into my shop as a colorway. It's really, really similar to Doubletree though. Doubletree has these exact colors except instead of the white, it has a taupe. So I'm not sure if that would be too redundant or not. We'll see. Sometimes it just takes one color to be different. And this is in my TARDIS bag from Bird Leg Bags, so, which I love. Okay, and lastly, that was last, right? Yes, the Hitchhiker, that was the 5th one. So, great progress. I'm very pleased with how much I'm getting done. I've started to queue up the next gift projects that I want to start working on once I get some of these finished. Definitely the Dark Matter Butterfly Socks are going to be the first ones done. I'm thinking perhaps the Hitchhiker might be the next one finished. Maybe, I don't know. But the next ones that I'm planning to cast on once I finish at least one is I'm going to make this lace ribbon slouch hat by Molly Wood. This is a free pattern download on Ravelry, and it's just a really pretty slouchy beret kind of hat. So that will be a Christmas gift. And I'm probably going to cast this on. The Antler Hat by Tin Can Knits. Can you see that? If you know what her, there you go, that's a better picture. Her antler cardigan, it's the same motif. Which I have the antler cardigan in my library. I've not made it yet. The antler hat, however, is a free pattern, sorry. And that's Alexa Ludeman, who is Tin Can Knits, and it's from her book Pacific Knits that she did by, it's her and Emily Wessel, so did that book together. So I'm thinking I'm going to cast this on as a gift. This may end up getting knit more than once. If I like it the first time, it may end up being a gift for multiple people this Christmas. We'll see. Takes worsted weight yarn. All this one does too, so they're going to be out of my cozy base because I've got that on hand. So I don't know. Those are the next two I'm definitely doing. The other one that is still, and this has been like a, I think last year it was a possible gift knit too, is the fish hat. I'm not sure that that's going to get done now. The more I think about that, I think that may just wait, and that can be a gift some other time for that particular person. So anyway, but those are two, are the antler hat and the lace ribbon slouch hat are definitely going to get cast on as gifts once I get something finished, because I can't have more projects on the needles than I have now and work on all of them regularly. I can only divide my attention so many places. So, and last time I recorded, I was talking about, you know, the fact that I'm doing all this gift knitting, but I'm also starting to think about the things I want to knit for me, or just as to knit, but not necessarily as gifts. And I talked about this opal yarn. I can't remember if I showed it to you. I think I did, but it's one of the Harry Potter colorways, the Ron colorway. And I actually was sitting here at the computer one day in the past week, and I decided, you know what, I'm just going to cast this on. So I grabbed a pair of needles and I started casting on, and I immediately stopped after I got through like a round or two, because I realized the needles I was using were Addie's, but they were the old Addie lace needles that were like those brassy tips that have that weird feeling to them, and they stick like crazy. Sorry, that was my phone. They really stick like crazy, and I couldn't knit with them. Oh my gosh, it was annoying. So I just tore it out. I mean, I didn't have that far on, but I thought that maybe was a sign that I just needed to not cast these on right now. So the yarn is still just sitting here on my desk. And I think I mentioned I want to do a Mama Vertebrae sometime, Groovy Socks sometimes, that blanket that Wendy from Knit One Heart 2 has made. I'd love to do one of those sometimes. But then the other thing that I was thinking about, and this came from a conversation that I was having the other day with Bonnie, was I've got tons and tons and tons of little balls of leftover sock yarn. I would love to do just mutant socks, where you take your leftover sock yarn and you just knit, you know, randomly different sock yarns one after the other. So the socks would not match. I mean, you could do it so they would match, I guess, if you weighed the balls and did them two at a time. I probably won't do that. I just think it would be so much fun, because I've got all of this sock yarn, and I am not a sock yarn blanket person. I thought I could do that at one point, and then it kind of got away from me. I'm going to try turning this light, seeing if maybe, is that going to help? No, that's kind of going to make things worse. Sorry, I'll do that again. It's just really warm. Anyway, so I think that's going to be a project sometime in the new year, or at least after I get all my holiday knitting done. And I still want to do like a top-down raglan pullover, just a patternless, using the Knitter's Handy Book of Patterns book as a guide. I still want to do one of those. And the other thing I want to do is that sheep head hat, which is a Kate Davies pattern. I have the Jameson yarn for it. I've had it for a couple of years now. I have not made the hat, and I really, really, really want to do that. And that kind of ties into something else I'm going to talk about in a minute. But yeah, so those are my want to knits, and so I'm looking forward to the point where I can do the want to knits. But for right now, I'm actually really enjoying the holiday knitting that I'm doing. They're all fun projects, and none of them are drudgery for me or anything. So it's a good thing. Let's talk about the knit along. The November-December knit along is the Giving Cal, so that's underway. You guys are posting all kinds of things. We are also in week 3 of the 9 weeks of giving. So I've drawn winners both weeks on Saturdays. The current thread will be open through Friday. I'll close it Saturday morning and open week 4. It's just a place for you to post about what random acts of kindness that you are doing. I am still enjoying reading those. They're wonderful, so please keep taking part in that. It's heartwarming, and I don't mean that in a sickly sweet way. It truly is heartwarming. I love reading about them, and I'm enjoying watching your projects go up too. Please remember though, your projects need to be knitted as a gift, something you're giving away, whether for charity or a person in your family, whoever. It just has to be for somebody else, not necessarily for Christmas. It can be knit, crocheted, spun, woven, or felted. It has to be started on or after November 1st and finished on or before December 31st to qualify. I am going through all the project pages of everything that's posted, and I'm trying to verify that as much as I can. It's really, really helpful to me if you put your start and end date on your project page, because otherwise I can't verify it. And I try to let things slide, because you can actually see when a project page was started, apart from when you put in your date that you started it. So if that falls in the range, then I kind of, I can go by that. But if it doesn't, I don't have any other way to verify that you're actually within the guidelines of the knit along. So it's helpful to me if you please put in those start and end dates of your project. If you don't put in any other information, please at least put that in. That would be a great help to me. You can be tagging your projects for the knit along 90K Giving on Ravelry and on Instagram if you want to. And yeah, the 9 weeks of giving, that's, it can be random acts of kindness, it can be physical items that you're giving to somebody, whatever, just something that you're helping to share the good in the world. That's the key to the 9 weeks of giving. So keep it up. You guys are doing wonderfully. I do want to talk a little bit about some upcoming stuff, and this is for next year, so I know it's really premature. Excuse me, I have an itch. But January, I am probably not going to do any kind of official knit along. We just did the head to toe knit along. That was 4 months long. Now we're doing the Giving Cal, which is another 2 months. I think January, I'm going to take a break. You guys can have a break and knit what you want. It's going to be knit what you want January. For me, January has often been the month that I use to finish up projects that have been languishing, laying around. So I either finish them up or I decide if I want to keep them or frog them. That's often what I do in January. And I will probably do a little bit of that coming in January. But I also think this January is going to be a want to knit month for me. So join in and do that, but it's not going to be an official knit along kind of thing at all. What will be an official knit along, however, will be in February and March. And if you watch the Meltran Designs podcast, you probably already heard about this because she mentioned it on her last podcast episode. And we are going to get together and co-host a stranded colorwork knit along. Which is where the sheep head hat that I mentioned before kind of comes in, because that may end up being my project for that. I'm not sure. But we both want to play with stranded colorwork a little bit more. We thought it would be fun to do a knit along based on that. So if you've never done stranded colorwork before, that we're talking Fair Isle here, if you've never done that before, this is a great opportunity to try, because you can do something as small as like a mug cozy or, you know, a hat. It doesn't have to be a sweater. But if you want to tackle something big, like a sweater and steeks and things like that, go for it. You'll have 2 months to do that. And we'll give you more details about the knit along closer to that time. But just know that that's out there on the horizon. And that will also be another one that will need to have been started and finished within the time frame of the knit along, just so you know. But anyway, it will definitely just be official stranded color work, Fair Isle. Anything that does color work like motifs with like slipped stitches and stuff, that won't count. Sorry. So you're actually going to be doing the two-stranded knitting with that knit along. I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a lot of fun, because I've done a little bit of stranded knitting, not a lot, and it's not my forte, but I'd like to get better at it. So I think it'll be a fun thing to do. Okay, now I'm going to show you my new things, and I realize that they're sitting over there, so I need to kind of get up and move to get them. Hold on a minute. You should see my office right now. I'm glad you can't see much more of it than you can. Oh my goodness. Okay. Sorry. Thought I was a little more organized for this than I was. But... Okay, here we go. Well, first things first, I set up my booth Friday night at Indie Knit and Spin, and then Saturday I finished setting up. I set up, I'd say, 2/3 of it, and I left the other third for Saturday morning because it didn't start till 11. We had to be ready by 10:30. Really? Sorry, I just dropped something. We had to be ready by 10:30, and so that gave me plenty of time because this place wasn't even a half hour from my house. So I just got up early, left, and finished setting up Saturday morning. And when I got there, I realized that Michelle's Assortment had the booth right next to me. Michelle's Assortment does beautiful shawl pins. I've shown them to you before. I have a few of them, and the first thing I said to her was, hi. The second thing I said to her was, do you have any TARDIS shawl pins with you? And she said, yep. I said, would you please set one aside for me? Because I really, really, really want one. And I will buy it from you later today. And so she did. So I have a TARDIS shawl pin. I'm so excited about it. I know, it's totally geeky, but I absolutely love it. Now I need a TARDIS shawl, I guess. But yeah, it's great. She had some Harry Potter oriented shawl pins, like with the Deathly Hallows symbol on it. I'm trying to think what else I know she had some other, you know, kind of trendy things too, but it was really cool. She also had ones that had these Tree of Life emblems on them, which I was so tempted to get one of those too, because I mean, I have my big Tree of Life tattoo on this arm, and I love Tree of Life stuff. So I may have to pick one of those up out of her shop at some point. She has an Etsy shop. It's www.etsy.com/shop/Michelle's Assortment, and that's Michelle's with 2 L's. I'll link it in the show notes. But I love her stuff. It's beautiful. So anyway, I have a TARDIS shawl pin now, and there it is again. So yay! So that was my first purchase. There was another vendor in the room who, Anna, who's Ren and Rita, she does bags. I did not get a bag from her this time. I got another item that I didn't bring in to show you because it's not knitting related at all. It's kind of a stuffed thing that I bought as a gift for someone. So it's in my other room, but I love her stuff and it's all cute. And the thing that I bought, I'm mentally trying to think about how to turn it into a knitting pattern, which kind of should make you laugh if you know how much I hate knitting stuffed things like toys, but this would be so simple and it would not be fiddly at all. So I may end up doing that at some point too, just as kind of a really quickie, easy design project. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see then. Oh, here's the dishcloth. I was telling you somebody brought me a dishcloth. Here it is. Isn't it pretty? I love it. This is sweet. We had 3 rooms total upstairs in this old school building that's been converted into a community center. And so I did have time to run around and, you know, see some of the other booths. And I was kind of just running whenever I had gaps in my time. One of the vendors that was there who I'd never actually seen before was Hipstrings. And they also have an Etsy shop. So hipstrings.etsy.com. They make a lot of these like acrylic things. So this is a gauge for when you're spinning, and it tells you how thick your yarn is once it's plied. I am assuming that's once it's plied. So fingering, sport, DK, worsted, and bulky. I know I've seen these too for like your singles, like you would know how heavy your yarn is going to be based on your singles, but I'm pretty sure this is for once it's plied. I may have to double check on that, but I picked that up. And then the other thing I picked up was a spindle. Okay, I know I don't like this spindle that much, but I love spindles because they're pretty. And this is a supported spindle they make, and I love the design. Check it out. And it is this acrylic material that they laser cut the designs into, and they had whole bunches of them. I like the clear one. I don't really know what the shaft is. I think it's some sort of carbon type of material, but I'm not really sure. I didn't buy a dish. I'm just using like a little custard dish that I have. Out of all of the drop spindling that I do, supported spindling I am the worst at. So this is my little blob of supported spindle spinning that I did when I came home just to try it out. I'm slowly getting the hang of it again. I only have one other supported spindle, and that's from Deerfield Creations. It's a pretty wooden one that Lori made. And you know, I've watched her do supported spinning. She's shown me, and I understand the concept. I'm just not very adept at it. So, but then I don't do it very often either. Yeah, but this one's been fun. I'm enjoying it. The only thing I'm not real sure about is it seems like there's not a lot of space on the bottom of this spindle to put the cop. That seems odd to me. I don't know. Or am I putting it in the wrong place? Am I supposed to be putting it above the whirl? See, I don't even know. Maybe I'm supposed to be putting it above the whirl. If you do supported spindling and you know that, tell me so that I don't look like a total dork. Because I feel like I'm doing this wrong. It's been long enough time since I've done supported spindling that I honestly don't remember. And I'm thinking my other supported spindle is actually like a cone on the bottom, so I wouldn't be able to put it on the top. It would have to go, or on the bottom, it would have to go on top. I'm probably doing this completely wrong, aren't I? Oh my goodness. Oh well. That's funny now that I'm thinking about it. Just let me know. Somebody fill me in. Anyway, so those are the 2 things I got from Hipstrings. Then there's another shop that I love. I go to every time she's there, Dusty Tree Knits, and she mainly makes soaps. I did not buy any of her soap this year, but I love her soaps. She does, however, also have lotion, which I did buy, and it smells fabulous. It's whipped shea butter lotion with lavender and orange, sweet orange. It's just so creamy and fabulous. And then her mom makes buttons, so I bought a couple of buttons because I love these kind of buttons. These are really similar to the buttons that I put on my Shandai sweater, which I did wear at the show, by the way. So they're not going to focus real well. Can I get you to focus? Come on. Oh, for goodness sake. I think the lighting is affecting the focusability too. Oh, there we go. They're just pretty little porcelain buttons, handcrafted buttons. And a bag. Isn't this bag cute? It's these little winter puppies with scarves and hats. I just could not pass it up. It's just, you know, a nice little squishy drawstring bag, my favorite kind of project bag. So I picked that up, just plain gray fabric on the inside, but it's great. So I got that, and then lastly, I got another bag from Alina Williams. She's Star Knits, and her shop is www.starknits.etsy.com. And I bought that box bag sitting there. That was from her last year. This year I got this. It's another drawstring bag, and it's got hedgehogs on it because hedgehogs are so freaking cute. I couldn't pass it up. So, and the fabric is actually more of a greenish teal than that blue that it's showing up as right now. Boy, this lighting is horrible today. So anyway, it's just a little drawstring bag. But again, I can't have too many drawstring bags because I love them. And it's got real fun zigzaggy fabric and polka dots on the inside. It's not lined, although the fabric that has the pockets is a stiffer fabric. So you can put stuff in there too. And it's got a little loop on the end that you can hang it, I guess, wherever you want, or hang something on it. So those were my purchases. I was really pretty good. I did not buy any yarn. I did not buy any fiber. And it's not that I was not tempted to, because there was beautiful things there, but you see what I have already. And I dye things, so I really didn't need any more. So I behaved on that end. So anyway, oh, and the other thing that is new, I was gifted a pattern a couple weeks ago by Aunt Sue's N. Aunt Sue's N is her Ravelry name. She gifted me the Helix Mitt pattern. And she said, just because. And so thank you again, Sue's. I've already thanked her on Ravelry, you know, through Ravelry, but I just wanted to say thanks again. That was really sweet of you. That was sort of around the time that I had my meltdown on the podcast a couple weeks ago, my little emotional day. And I didn't mention it last week, but as we're moving into the 10% section now, I will mention just thank you so much, because, you know, it just sort of happened, and I got a lot of really nice messages from you guys. You're so supportive. It's crazy. You guys are wonderful. Just, you know, letting me know, sending me virtual hugs and things, and thank you for all of that. I think I've responded to everybody now. It's taken me a while just because I have had so little computer time lately. But thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. And, you know, I just want to clarify too, because I'm not really sure how that all came across. You know, my life is good. I'm happy. I'm actually happier now than I have been in years. Things are good, and I'm thankful for all the good things in my life. It's been a long couple of years and challenging, and this year has definitely been a busy year in many ways. It's not quite over yet, but it's at least winding down a little, so that's a good thing, and I can breathe a little bit more. We all need to breathe sometimes. So anyway, but thank you again for your outpouring of kindness to me. I can never say thank you enough for that. Let's see, other 10% things. Poison ivy update, because I know y'all want to know, right? I told you last time the poison ivy was gone, but I had hives everywhere that I had the poison ivy. Well, that's finally cleared up too. I called my doctor the next day, told them what was going on. They didn't get back to me till the following day, so that was Friday, which I was not very happy about, but what can you do? She ended up calling me in a second course of prednisone, this one at a higher dose, and I'm still taking that, although I think I'm on the last taper of that now, I think. Anyway, but it's definitely cleared it all up. So now my skin is just extremely dry where I had all of that, but at least I'm not itching anymore. Oh my gosh, the itching was horrible. But it's gone now. Thank goodness. Knock on wood, it won't come back. Literally, knock on wood. Wood that is not poisoned with poison ivy. So anyway. That, and let's see, the bathroom, still working on the bathroom. I sewed a valance for my window this week, so that part's done. There had not been a valance in my bathroom for several years because the one that I had, in it prior had kind of gotten really gross and disgusting. I was going to make a new one, then I never did. Then I decided I was going to paint, and it took me forever to paint. So I finally have a valance, and it looks nice. We did get the trim up. I can't remember if I had done that last year or not, or last week or not. The trim is up. It looks nice. The valance is up. I have a couple pictures that I put in frames. They're just little prints that I had on hand because I don't really know what I want to decorate with in there quite yet. It sort of lends itself to doing kind of a beachy theme, but I don't want to do a beachy theme because I don't live at the beach. But I have a couple of small prints that I went to Packetans yesterday and I bought just cheapy white frames, so they look pretty nice. I still don't have anything to hang over the toilet, and I don't have any little knick-knacky things to put on the shelf with the 2 prints. I'd like one other thing because I like to do things in groupings of 3. So I have a grouping of 2 right now. I need something else in there. And you know, it's funny. I can go into Packetans any day of the week, usually for a specific thing. Like I buy a lot of my pans there that I dye in and everything because they're really inexpensive. And I can walk in there and I can find a dozen really cute, knick-knacky, sit-around kind of things without an effort. And I don't buy them because I don't buy that kind of stuff unless I have a specific purpose for it. But when I went in yesterday, specifically looking for things for my bathroom, do you think I could find anything that I liked? No. No, not at all. It's the way it works. So I'm not going to rush it. It'll get done when it gets done, and I'm just happy that it's as far along as it is. I do have the new towel racks too. I went to Walmart and got those finally because I was not paying $30 for one towel rack. It just wasn't. But I have the towel racks. They're just not installed yet. So hopefully those will go up soon. Oh, what else? Still doing all my morning knitting and watching podcasts. I'll tell you what, I am loving watching the podcasts on YouTube. I know that probably sounds really funny because many of you always watch your podcasts on YouTube, but I'm kind of new to watching on YouTube because I always watch through Blip, or not really through Blip, but through people's blogs, you know. Well, I'm finding that YouTube is so convenient because you can subscribe and then you get notifications when new episodes go up. And that's awesome. So I'm subscribed to like a whole bunch of them, and I've told you some of them that I'm watching. I'm really excited that Melissa and Sean from the His and Hers podcast, they've recorded a new episode recently, so that's up there. I've discovered Little Yellow Uke Crafts. She's out of Great Britain somewhere, so that's fun. I'm a sucker for accents. I've told you that. So I've been watching her. A Homespun House. She's actually from the United States, but she lives in Germany. So I've been watching her. I'm not going back to the very beginning on a lot of these ones that have several episodes. I kind of am watching the most recent one, and then if I have time, I'll go back and watch other episodes. What else? Yarngasm. I don't know how I've missed the Yarngasm podcast all this time. She's got like over 100 episodes. How did I do that? I don't know. Who else? Who else am I watching that? I mean, outside of the ones I've always watched, like Knit One Heart 2, Stockinette Zombies, Fat Squirrel, Highland Handmaids, you know, like those I've always watched. But like the new ones that I've found since I'm kind of on YouTube now, Deese's Craft Work, I mentioned that one before. I just absolutely adore her. She's adorable, and I love her podcasts. And yeah, so who else? Retro Lemon, she's on there. I'm just reading through my little list here. I've got a bunch. Fibertown, Emily, she's on there. Christine Beeson, I just started watching her. I didn't even know she had a podcast. How did I miss that? I've got a couple queued also that I found, but I haven't had a chance to watch them yet, so I'm not going to mention them. But anyway, Knitting in Circles, Knit Girls, Minerva Turkey. I'm still loving Minerva Turkey's episodes. She's great. Meltrian Designs. I've always watched her on YouTube. So anyway, I'm enjoying my YouTube time in the morning while I'm knitting all my holiday gifts. It's just working out wonderfully. I've done some cooking this week with some new recipes. I made cauliflower and cheese, which is kind of like macaroni and cheese, except instead of macaroni, you're using cauliflower. And oh my gosh, it was so good. I may actually use the base, the cheese base, for the next time I make macaroni and cheese, because I make macaroni and cheese from scratch when I make it. And it's always good, but this was even better. It had cream cheese in it. It was fabulous. It was the cream cheese kind of made the base where my recipe I use. I make a roux to make my cream sauce and then put the cheese in. This was even better. I made this broiled Parmesan tilapia last night for dinner. That was so fast and so easy because I buy the packages that have the individual frozen tilapia fillets in them. So you just get those out. I mean, you don't even have to thaw those. I mean, the recipe says to thaw them, but you don't have to because it's broiled. It cooks really, really fast because they're thin. That was super yummy. Oh, and I made banana bread. I don't eat a lot of fruit. I'm more of a veggie person than a fruit person. It's totally a texture thing, but I do like bananas. Unfortunately, I rarely ever eat them fast enough that they don't get beyond the point that I like them. I'm really picky about bananas. They have to still be a tiny bit green and they have to be very firm, but not that powdery firm that they are when they're really green. They have to, but if they're starting to turn yellow and get any spots whatsoever, I won't eat them. And I had 2 bananas sitting out there that were definitely beyond the realm of my eating them. And banana bread's not really a healthy bread. I mean, it says banana, but it's sugary usually. And I try to avoid making a lot of stuff that has, you know, refined sugar and white flour in it. So I found kind of a healthy-ish recipe for banana bread. It was half white flour, half wheat flour, and it still had the sugar in it. But what I ended up doing was I subbed out half of the white flour and put in a half a cup of rolled oats, which actually it didn't change the texture too much, but it made it a little healthier. And I pretty much almost always substitute Truvia for sugar, for white sugar, because you use half as much and it's much less sweet. It turned out really good. Oh, and I added pecans because the recipe didn't call for nuts, and I like nuts in my banana bread, so I added pecans. I like pecans more than walnuts, and I didn't have any walnuts anyway, so. Okay, so that was my cooking. I'll link to those recipes. They were quite yummy. I have a busy rest of my week. Emma comes home tomorrow for Thanksgiving break. Tomorrow night. Yay! I can't wait. I'm so excited. Her plane doesn't get into super late. It's like almost 11 o'clock, so I'm really hoping it's on time. It's going to be a late night for me because I'm usually in bed way earlier than that. But I can't wait to see her, and she is really looking forward to coming home too, so that'll be great. And then Friday night, a girlfriend and I are going to see Craig Ferguson. He's coming to Pittsburgh and putting on a show, so we're going to go to dinner and go see him. So I'm really looking forward to that because I don't get to see my friend Amy very often. I've known her since 3rd grade, so we've known each other like 40 years now. That's pretty cool. And she lives right here in Pittsburgh, but you know, we're both busy and have our own things, so it'll be fun to get out with her and do that on Friday. And then we've got the weekend, and Emma's got all kinds of plans, you know, for what she's going to do while she's home. And we've got Thanksgiving here in the United States next week, which I'm, you know, planning. I'm cooking dinner this year. I didn't last year, but I am this year. It may just be me and Christopher and Emma. I don't know. But that's fine. It'll just be fun, a nice little dinner. But I am doing a shop update, and I'm going to talk about that next. I need to pause so I can grab everything. There is a ton. All the show leftovers. For as good as the show was, I had a ton of stuff that I took with me, though, so I've got lots and lots of show leftovers to show you. I'm dividing them up between 2 updates, mainly because I do not have enough time to photograph and list everything for just 1 update. I just can't do it. I need to divide it into 2. So the first part of the show update, or the show leftovers updates, will be this Saturday, the 22nd at noon. And then the second half of it will be the following Saturday, which is the 29th. That also happens to be Shop Small, like Small Business Saturday. And that one will be at 9 a.m. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to be putting in the shop this coming week, right now. As soon as I pause and go grab it all. So if you want to see that, hang on. And if you're not interested, I totally understand. And I will catch you next week when I record. So just hang on. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. This is the shop news segment. And as I said right before I took the break, the first show leftovers update will be this Saturday, the 22nd at noon Eastern Time. Here's vaguely how I am dividing up my show leftovers. This week, I'm going to be putting in the shop any of my leftover Christmas colorways. I want to get those in first, just because if you want to do some Christmas or holiday knitting, they'll be there for you. So there will be Christmas colorways. There will be all of my leftover inversibles. There will be all of my leftover self-striping worsted weight yarn. There will be some fiber, including the bats that I have left. There will be some of the tonal and variegated yarns, including all of the lace weight, which there's not a whole lot of. So that will be this week. Next week, we'll have all of the rest of the sock weight self-striping. It will have the rest of the fiber, the rest of the tonal and variegated, and all of my leftover gradient dyed things. The gradient dyes went really well this show. Sometimes they really don't move. People really seem to like the color block gradients though. So those will be in next Saturday, the 29th. But this will be this week. So I'm trying to divide this stuff up as equitably as possible and also make it easy. The other thing that will be going into the shop is all of my leftover semi-solids, but I'm just going to put those in and list them. They'll just be live as soon as I list them. I'm not waiting until the update for those to go live. So there will be both worsted and fingering weight semi-solids going up. The other thing is there are some things that I took out of the shop that had been in shop inventory. I took them out of the shop to take them to the show with me. If there are any of those things, I'm going to just put those directly back in the shop now. So those things you won't have to wait until Saturday for those to go live. So you can watch the shop for that if you want to. So, all right. And I am going to have to probably keep pausing to go get more stuff because there's so much here. I just don't have enough space to sit it right here on my desk. So of the Christmas colorways that are still up for grabs, quantity-wise, just look at the shop because I honestly can't even tell you how many of everything there are. There may only be one of each. There may be more. But colorways, there will be Busy Little Elves. And I, again, apologize. This color in here, the lighting is horrible for this right now. There. Busy Little Elves. Bounce and Bedazzled. Baubles, which I think there may actually be baubles in the shop right now, too. Bounce and Bedazzled. Winter Garden on Bounce and Bedazzled. The new one, this was the one that I dyed up for the show. I've never had it in the shop, and I can't remember if there's just one or two. I don't remember if there's a second one or not, but this is the You're So Scrooged colorway, so I know I've at least got one of those left over. So there it is. It's the black, red, kind of limey green, and a dark bluish green. The pictures in the shop will be way better than the lighting in here. Father Christmas on Bounce and Bedazzled. Winterberry, let's see. Winterberry on Bounce and Bedazzled. That's just kind of the cranberry red and the forest green. Merry and Bright. I have it on Bounce. I don't think I have this one on Bedazzled. So there, maybe if I don't hold my arm in front of the light, that helps. Then the only one I did up on worsted weight was rigging up the lights. So there are a couple skeins of that left. And I think, I have to double check, this may already be promised to somebody as a special order, but if it's not, it'll be in the shop too. It's my only Christmas Inversibles that's left, and that's in the Bedazzled base. So hopefully that'll be up there. And then I have a couple of the flurry kits left in the wintry, Christmassy colors. So the kit comes with the pattern code to do the cowl, flurry cowl. So, okay, so that is the Christmas, holiday, wintry kind of colors, the self-striping. So hang on, and I'm going to go grab the next installment of stuff. Okay, next there will be some worsted weight self-striping. We have Sheldon's Challenge, Ice Palace, American Legend, Carrick's Treasure, Bring Me That Horizon, Fruit Loops. This is one of the new ones also that I've not had in the shop before. This is Electric Avenue. The fuchsia, the blue, gray, and the 2 different grays. None Place Like Home. And zinnias. So those will all be in the shop. That's on my cozy base. So, all right, hang on. Okay, in the midst of changing around, my lamp fell over, so now the lighting's really, really weird because it's like super high and goodness gracious. Okay, let's see. What was I showing? Oh, okay, yarn. We need to get through this. Inversibles. There is more than one of some of these, and there's only one of some of these. Again, check the shop listing to see how many are available. There will be inversibles on Bounce in the cherry and pink colorway, lavender and robin's egg blue, purple and gold, pink and Nile, black and silver, and light blue and lemon. And then I have a couple on Bedazzled as well. I've got light blue and lemon on Bedazzled, and orange, pumpkin orange, and turquoise blue on Bedazzled. So those will be inversibles going up into the shop. Then variegated and tonal. Again, some of them are going up now, some will go up next week. On Sunshine, this is my Sunshine base. I've got Primordial Sea. I've got Amy. It's the Amy Winehouse inspired colorway. I've got Deep Blue Ice, and I also have some of that on Bedazzled. I have Snow in the Forest on Sunshine and also on Bedazzled. And Autumn Harvest. And then I said I have lace. The only lace colorway that I'm putting up is actually the Cardinal one that was it was a club colorway last year. Cheer Cheer, inspired by the cardinal, the bird. And the color is terrible right here. It's not orangey like that at all. It's much more red. There's more lace going up, but I think a lot of it was lace that I had in the shop anyway, so I'll just be putting it back into the shop. I think this is the only designated new lace going into the shop this week. So outside of that, the only other thing is there's some fiber. I'm not even going to try to show you the fiber right now because it's all in its plastic bags, and with this weird lighting and glaring, I don't think you're going to be able to see it very well. I've got a handful of bats, like the twin bats. They'll be going up, and I'll photograph those, and then just a collection of other braids. And like I said, some of them will be going up this week, some will be going up next week. So I'm going to be working on photographing all of the yarn and fiber for this week's show update today and tomorrow, and getting all those listings up. This is going to take me a while, so please be patient. I will definitely have everything up for preview mode, hopefully. I want to say by the end of tomorrow, but if not by the end of tomorrow, then at least by midday Friday. It's just a lot, so I'm doing the best I can, so please be patient with me. Anyway, other than that, that's everything. Again, shop update Saturday, 22nd at noon Eastern, and then the rest of the show leftovers will be the following Saturday, the 29th at 9 a.m. So that's everything. I'm going to go. This is a really long one. I'm sorry. And hopefully I have to splice all this together, and my camera's being weird. Every time I had to stop, it wanted to not start again. And the lighting is weird. So it's just one of those days. So thank you for putting up with me if you've watched to the end. I'll have show notes up on the Ravelry group, the 90% Knitting group. And if you have any questions, feel free to PM me or ask me there in that thread. So until next week, happy knitting, happy spinning, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.